Welcome to 28 Days and Beyond.
Where we talk about our history, our heritage, and our culture.
I'm Amari.
I'm Kharisma. Welcome. Hi, Amari.
The first rule of Fight Club.
That was like a big sigh, but go ahead. What'd you say?
I mean, I'm just, because I'm ready.
You look like you're bracing, or maybe I should be bracing myself.
What is the first rule of Fight Club?
I don't know.
What?
I don't know.
The first rule of Fight Club.
I don't know.
We do not tell anybody about Fight Club. It's about to go down today, okay?
Good to know.
End of February, we feeling good. Almost another one in the can.
Yes.
We ready. You hear me? Today we're talking with my man Carlo Campbell, and I know.
You ready to fight?
I mean, how do we say?
Hopefully not me. What I do?
No. A verbal sparring match, if you will.
Let me get ready.
Check this out. In the month of February, we've seen what is it called? The Oscars?
Yes, the Oscars.
Is that different from the Academy Awards?
No, it's the same.
Okay, well, it's that. And we've also seen the Grammys.
Yes.
Both of which have been under scrutiny for the past several years with regards to their
lack of diversity.
I mean, diversity.
Hashtag Oscars so white.
Exactly. Really what we mean is, they ain't got no black people up in the joint, right?
Yeah.
Now, I think it was last year there were some black people who were winning some stuff, and that was supposed to undo the previous year's lack of melanin. In other words, you know what I'm saying? Mayonnaise. In other words, lack of flavor up in that mug, right?
Yes.
So, we know that this is not only something that's been happening over the past few years, this has been a historical trend.
Yes, this is very true.
My question, dear friend.
Okay.
Why do we feel the need to be recognized by those who have historically failed to recognize us? Is your art any less valid because they don't tell you they like it?
No, I think as human beings, we crave recognition for our accomplishments at a very basic level. So I think that's part of it. And then also, sometimes, I'll say this, oftentimes, exposure and being on a certain platform in your career, especially in the entertainment world, exposure can often translate into bigger opportunities financially and for your craft and for your career.
Does it get any bigger than Mr. Knowles, a.k.a.?
Beyonce's dad?
No.
Who you talking
Beyonce's
about?
husband, Jay-Z.
Oh, Jay-Z. I'm like, who?
Does it get any bigger than Jay-Z? This is a man he's never won a Grammy, right?
Yes.
This is what they say. Oh, Jay-Z boycotts the Grammy because he never won a Grammy.
Right.
But in terms of putting himself in a position to be extremely wealthy, to have extreme exposure and opportunities galore, that's not something that stopped him before.
No, it isn't. And, to your point, it would be great if a lot of people took the same stance as Jay-Z and said, you know what? I mean, how many times have you and I had this conversation?
Right.
If we don't like it, we could just pack up and keep it moving, do
Chuck
our own
the
thing,
deuce.
chuck the deuces and be out.
Right.
But, everybody's not going to do that.
And we know not everybody's going to be on no Jay-Z level type stuff, right?
Well, everybody's going to be Jay-Z.
Exactly. No, you shouldn't want to. That's another conversation. We'll save that for next year. Today we're joined by Carlo Campbell, who is an actor.
A phenomenal actor.
I mean, come on, next level?
Yes,
next
sir.
level? That's what I'm talking about. And we're going to be talking about this and so much more when we come back on 28 Days and Beyond.
Welcome back to 28 Days and Beyond. We are now joined by Carlo Campbell. What? You're supposed to be clapping.
Yeah. Silent
Yes, silent clap.
Exactly. Right. The crowd goes wild.
Welcome.
Yo,
Thank you for gracing us with all of your talent and dopeness.
You crazy.
That's what we do here.
Crazy. Stop it.
A lot of control.
We go way back.
Way back.
Why you gotta be like this?
Yo, you actor extraordinaire.
I am an actor of some variety.
That's it.
I was not cavalier enough to extraordinaire myself.
Okay.
I would not mind. If
Well, I don't
somebody
know. Your glove says otherwise.
No, this is tribute to my nieces and nephews. They left it in the will and they got jacked. It's lit, literally.
It is literally lit.
Yeah, and it should be, yeah.
So before the break, we were talking about Oscars, Grammys, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
My position is we don't need none of that. We don't need to be recognized by them. We don't need to, try and tap dance and all that just so we can make sure that we get their recognition when what we do is valid in and of itself.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
think?
Absolutely. Well, we can take it to a fella named Oscar Micheaux. He's like one of the first preeminent directors. He died penniless. He died. he put a lot of people on. Like, let's look at like Spike Lee that's making a big spat over not getting his Oscar, then being really happy when he finally got it. For a long time, he was going like the Oscar me show route, but we've seen it crash and burn. We've seen where there's only so much you can accomplish over here, and we live in a world, a nation that the dictates of it's set in place by the language of compromise and the language of finding a way to make a way to survive. And I don't believe that those accolades in and of themselves are toxic. Now, there are definitely bents at it, like what they have accoladed, and the people, the arguments they've made in conjunction with the desire for accolades. Yeah, you know, those are problematic. But I do not believe that the recognition in itself is something that should be chagrined, but I don't believe it's something that should be filleted either.
Right.
So for you, is it more, you know, what people are willing to do and put themselves through to attain those accolades that you see an issue with? Because the accolades in themselves, you said you don't see as a problem?
Well, I feel like if the lack of those governs or the obtainment of it governs your sense of esteem, your sense of worth, that's the toxicity.
That's what the problem
Yeah.
is.
That's the failing.
Yeah.
That's the shortcoming. The long going of it is if you have, we were talking about Jay-Z earlier, somebody who in lieu of never obtaining that golden calf was still able to forge forward, still able to make a life of excellence. However, I mean, I'm down to put up ducats to it that if he could reverse engineer something and make a little turn and make a little shift here, he wouldn't mind having one of them joints on his shelf. Because I do not think that Beyonce's are in the shed kitchen. I think the joints prominently displayed somewhere in their collective residence. I'm just saying.
In a display of sorts. That's shiny.
Word.
Yeah.
So this year we saw Spike Lee, you know, like you said, finally got his
finally
Oscar.
won.
He got a
some other folks.
Yeah.
But here, all right, whatever. What we're the sort of subtext is the conflict between art and commerce, right? We're placing this in terms of monetary. You don't want to die penniless. That's what's up. But I think there's a far gap between dying penniless and getting an Oscar or getting a Grammy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And especially you talk about nowadays, there's kids who was millionaires off of 6-second videos. There are plenty of opportunities to, you know what I'm saying, to go the independent route, I should
But that's still, even with the independent route, if you think about the principles and the foundation of what that is, it's still the same thing.
In terms of what?
So these kids that are making it big and making millions and millions of dollars off of Vine, they're making it because they're in a position where they're being seen by millions and millions of people, which then translates into all this money.
Right.
So what's the difference between a platform like Vine and the Oscars and the Grammys?
Well, the difference is that they're taking it literally into their own hands to get that objective. Because I'm saying the way you set it up before was, you get this recognition, it opens you up to being able to get more money, right? To more fun. I'm saying they're cutting out the middleman altogether. Literally, they're not going through studios, they're not going through production companies, they are taking it into their hands.
Some of those things that those people do, like if we take it to the people that are vying for that recognition from the Academy, the professionalism, the acumen that they exercise, the craft that they've learned. And just look at people grafting from that on a lower level. And that's how we get like blockbuster movies that aren't like those critically acclaimed things, but they still have this aesthetic to them. Now, let's reverse engineer those Vine successes. How many millions of people who aren't so are like trying to make a go at it? So it's just flooded.
Well, I want you to hold that thought because we have to take a break. So don't forget. We'll be back with more 28 Days and Beyond right after this.
And we're back on 28 Days and Beyond. Carlo Campbell.
Yes.
So, all right, but yeah, right, because you're right, there's the professionalism, there's the idea of, the craft of filmmaking, of acting, of so on and so forth, which a lot of, they ain't studying that. But I'm saying, like, if you put it in monetary terms, then the craft means nothing. But if you put it in artistic terms, right, creating something that is meaningful to, transcend time, I don't believe that you need an Oscar to validate that.
You do not.
You don't. I don't believe you do either. Go ahead.
That is exactly, I agree. We agree wholeheartedly. I agree vehemently with you. What I don't believe that there is original sin in appreciating the recognition of it. I believe someone like Regina King, we have been watching her since 227.
Like 227.
227.
Yes.
You know how many
House
people,
party?
you know, she went in the house party.
One house party.
Was she teacher Kim a homegirl?
No.
Oh, my bad.
Fired. Fired. X done.
Tisha Campbell, Steve's like, no. No. But, you know, like somebody
All
like
of this
that.
time,
You know
years,
how many,
decades she's
you know
in,
how many
right, yeah.
kids that fell off, how many, you know, like Arnold couldn't act his way out of a paper bag when he grew up. You know what I mean? Neither could his brother. And I love different strokes.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying, like somebody stay in the game, and somebody made a great point. They say, yo, Regina won an Oscar and she didn't get hit and she didn't get slammed out. So, I mean, the Academy is transforming, and I think if we're not going that drastic revolutionist route, that going, like keeping our sanity and moving forward and just taking everything into account and putting it in a perspective is a valuable tool for all of us.
I agree.
So what does that perspective include?
I mean, survival and like hearing somebody out, and like it's not like if somebody makes a joint that's just pure Oscar bait, and then they write this movie to me, and then they say, but we gotta put the white person in it because because the audience over there, then you know there's a folly in that, and then like there was a whole folly idea with Black Panther, like it was like okay. Black movies don't sell overseas. Black leads don't see the same returns domestically. So what has Black Panther done? It has broken that whole idea, that whole aesthetic, and has garnered critical acclaim in the interim. However, I think a lot of that is bandwagon nearing. You know, like the Academy and those OGs, those great haired dudes and dudettes are doing what they can to kind of atone for all the effortry that they've done over all of those years when they were like, you know, not letting people in the Academy, making Hattie McDaniels like stay out of the joint and all of that.
And you're saying that they did that in regards to Black Panther, they're trying to make up with it.
I said
Black Panther.
perhaps, but I mean like.
But what did Black Panther win? Just the costume?
It won some.
Well,
costume.
this year,
it won
it
3
won
Oscars. The
costume design
the
and then there was 2
periphery
other
joints. But I mean, it's all significant in the scheme of things because it is the first Marvel movie they've made a gang of them.
Yeah.
You know, they might be at like 30 right now. And it's one of the highest grossing movies ever on earth.
Yeah.
And it's
with an all-black cast.
And you're telling me all that? Well, it wasn't all black because they
Well,
had
they had
all
the
of it.
two.
But
Yeah.
but it did all of that and didn't need,
Didn't need an
dare
Oscar.
I say it?
An Oscar?
It didn't need an Oscar.
No, but they were hyped for. They were like
See,
ready
and
for that.
I think
But
that's
that-
the thing.
Yo,
I think
everybody that's looking at this video, if you haven't seen it, it's hilarious. When the Green Book wins and Chadwick looked back at Michael B. Jordan like this. Oh, y'all can't see the face. I got to do it like this. Everybody know what that face is saying.
that was
It's
the come on,
hilarious.
son.
So I think them not getting an Oscar is worth that face.
Well,
Because we've been gifted with that, guys. We've been gifted.
we've been
that's
gifted
it.
with
That
those
was
facial
bestowed
No,
expressions.
but I'm with you. I just feel like I'm just keeping the whole bean.
Please
like
do.
we were talking. Like if we're not just gonna bloody water the tree of justice and or blow our own vitality out of our temples, then we must find a way to maneuver, survive, and dare I say thrive. If we're not going to make one of those drastic direction choices now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Two words for you, my brother.
What?
Source Awards. You know what I'm
Oh my gosh. Wait, did we have a conversation on cancel culture this season? Because that should be canceled indefinitely.
I love that you just said that. Amazing.
Well, I think
If y'all don't want hosts on the show, when the Dashikis interrupting you with extraneous
I
information,
can't with you guys anymore.
holla at Carlo Campbell.
Unfortunately,
You ignited me up on my own.
I know.
Nah, y'all love you, man.
We're out of time, unfortunately, but thank you so much for coming. One of my favorite episodes. But we have to take a break.
Yeah,
But thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back with more 28 Days and Beyond right after this. And we're back with 28 Days and Beyond. Amari,
Yeah.
Carlo's the real MVP.
Real MVP. MVP for sure.
That was awesome.
I mean, he's got a lot of good points.
He does.
And a lot of fun.
Yes.
Jokey joke.
Yes.
Tried to play me. You know what I'm saying?
No, he didn't try.
I played myself, I guess.
You kind of did. But it was done with love, so it's okay.
That's it, man. I think, you know, it's an interesting conversation. I feel like it manifests in different realms. So we're talking about art. We've talked about it in some respects in reference to education, employment, so on and so forth. But I think that, you know, at the heart of it all for me, it's just a matter of us being able to find value in ourselves and not having to look towards external verification. I think you raised a great point. Yo, everybody wants to be, you know, validated for the work that they do, truly. Yeah. But I also think we have to interrogate the source of that validation. Are they even worth the, you know what I'm saying? And to me, I ain't sweating it. The Grammy could call me. I'll be like, no, I'm good. Give my seat to somebody else.
Oh, well. I mean, I've never been. I was a part of the Grammy, the Philly Grammy chapter for a while. I'm not now, but I understand where you're coming from. I really do, and I understand both sides of the coin. We really do have to get to the place where we're not looking so much for outside sources to validate us on a number of levels, and not just in an artistic realm, but just across the board. But I think to Carlo's point, there's nothing inherently wrong with you know, being excited, you know, with Spike Lee finally getting his Oscar. There's nothing wrong with being excited about someone at that level who's been working, you know, all these years and is finally getting recognized in what's considered the biggest award in his line of work.
In his line of work, right.
But like you said, not allowing the goal to be just that, and not looking so much for that to validate your gifts and your talent and what you're bringing to the rest of the world. Yeah.
So what's that mean? I'm gonna see you on the big stage for
I mean, you might, but if not, it's not gonna stop. It's not gonna stop my shine.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's not gonna stop my shine.
I'm trying to get at.
It's not gonna stop my work ethic.
Shine on. I
you know what I
gotta
mean?
put my shades on. Put my shades on. Remember Blue
saying
Blockers? Back in the day. This has been another episode of 28 Days and Beyond,
where we talk about our history, our heritage, and our culture. We'll see you next time.
Peace.